Yo, what is up? What is up? What is up, everybody? We're back. We're back. And we're here. Is this episode 11? Episode
11,
11?
11, 11, 11.
Episode 11, man. I think we're being very fruitful, at least, and very faithful with how we're recording and processing through everything.
Yeah,
Everyone want to say welcome back to the Two Young Pastors podcast, where me, Jawan Sanders, and my excellent, my fabulous co-host, um, Elijah Stanley,
what's up,
Elijah
bro?
Benjamin.
What's up?
We talk
Yo,
about we talk through our lives. We talk through the things that we experience. We talk about the things um, that we experience specifically in ministry and
yeah,
just our lives.
yeah,
And we love it here. We love all the individuals who are here with us right now, and we're hoping that as time goes on, we'll continue to build and we can expand and grow, and this can become an amazing community. It's going to become an
yes,
amazing community. So, how you feeling, man? How you doing today?
man. Good, 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 bro. This week has been it's been moving. Like it felt kind of slow at the beginning. I was like, dang, it's only Monday, it's only
Yeah,
Tuesday, and then as the week went by, bro, it just picked up. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to Saturday, bro. We have like a ministry fair coming through. So looking forward to seeing how that turns out. Have some trinkets to pass out, some gifts and gear.
Hey,
Had some awesome conversations, bro. With a few of my
word.
members.
Hmm?
Yeah. And one of them owns a marketing company and a marketing business.
Okay,
And had lunch with
okay,
him, and he was just like, "Hey, Pastor, these are some ideas I want to give you, for free,"
okay.
and just
Yeah.
passed them on to me. And I was like, "Whoa." Um,
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So took some of those ideas, some work, some don't work in
Yeah.
our context, right?
Hmm.
But a majority of them do. So
Okay.
like took them, and one of our goals this year as a church,
Hmm.
is to well, our overall theme is shining the light, and one of the most practical ways that came out of that conversation was, hey, if you come into our church as a guest or a visitor, we want you to leave our church feeling love, number one, and then two, with something in your hand.
Hmm.
And
That's good.
so we're passing out. If you're a guest and you come into Capitol Hill,
Hmm.
we're giving you a notebook and a pen with our logo on it. And
Love
because
that.
one, we want you to be engaged. We don't want you to just hear the word. We want you to write it down,
Take it in,
take it in, and then go ahead and
process
do it.
it.
Yeah.
I think
So
that's excellent.
it's gonna be a great, great, great start of the year, man, with our ministry fair. So I'm looking forward to that, bro. But how about you, bro? How's your week? How's things going?
Dude, I love, New Year's all the time. Because it's always an excellent opportunity to really, try to do new things. And that's really what the theme of our church is. The theme, all things new.
Mm,
That's something that God gave me last year. And it's something that I think, our church members are really beginning to get behind. One, I think last year we were working under the theme of receiving the harvest. Essentially, um, understanding that God has a harvest for each of us. God wants to give each of us something, no matter how much, no matter how little. Uh, God indeed always has something for his people. And so, since we talked about that last year, I think um, a very important next step to talk about and lead your church in is just understanding now that we have this new thing, because a
hmm.
harvest means that you're reaping something new, you're bringing about something new.
Yeah,
Now that you have this new thing, it's kind of sort of like, hey, what do we do with this new thing?
yeah.
And essentially this year is going to be about how learning our church is going to learn about how we can steward the new.
Mm,
And so this month, we're just setting a tone for what the year is going to be like, and what the focus is going to be. And this month, preach three times. Three times. I've been on my senior pastor like type of vibe.
how you feel?
Um, dude, it's like a continuous. It's a continuous. What's the word I'm looking for? learning curve. It's a continuous learning curve. There's a lot that goes into things, and um, I need to. I said this before, but I need to read my church manual because there are just certain things like when we're processing through board meeting,
Yeah.
business meeting, um, finance meetings. There are just a number of things. That it's just these are some of the finer details that
Yeah.
if you know what the church manual says, it'll be easier for you to process through so that someone in your meeting doesn't say, "Oh, pastor, that's not it. It's actually like this." And it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
great.
That's
Um, and so yeah, but I think it's been a rewarding process, and also finally having the opportunity to flex some of the ideas that I've had in my pocket. I just was never in a space where I could really, try to flex some of
Mhm.
these ideas because my role was assistant pastor. Now
Yeah.
my role is assistant pastor who's leading his church until the next senior pastor gets here.
Intern. Yeah.
And so it's been a good thing. And it really just got me thinking about, what the possibilities and what opportunities I just have and we have as individuals for a new year.
Yeah.
Um, I know at times years don't always go the way that we expect,
Yeah.
but bro, I mean, in January, it's always just like a nice thing to be able to see and be able to ponder on, what can this new year look like?
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that's been on my mind recently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and I think towards that, man, I want to ask you, dude, like since it is a new year, are you the type of person that like that makes resolutions for your new year?
No.
No.
No, I don't really believe in resolutions.
See, I,
In
I don't
terms,
believe in I don't
well,
believe in
let
resolutions.
me refine that statement so it's not like,
Okay.
Pastor Stanley, you don't believe in getting better? No, no, no. I believe in growth, right? I believe
Yeah.
in growth. I believe in growth. Um, I could go through and say like time is abstract. Months and years are just created, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could go through
Yeah.
that hole that some people go through and be like, today is
That's
the
real
same as
spiritual.
yesterday. It's just the sun has moved around, right? And we just decided to put some construct around. I could do
Yeah,
that, but I don't go that far into it. I just go, hey, you don't have to wait until the new year to make a change in your life.
it's accurate.
Like, I
It's
think what
accurate.
some people did was just like, hey, I'm gonna start eating better January 1st. I think Dr. Peeler
Mm,
said this in his sermon, but I've always thought it like I'm gonna eat better starting January 1st. And what most people end
yeah,
up doing is they eat like hot garbage from December 20th, right? Or December 15th, right?
yeah,
All the way to January 1st. And
yeah,
they think that their body and their brain can change, right?
yeah,
From all the fat and the sugar they ate, right? And
yeah.
then when they eat that first salad, right, their body and their mouth is like, what is this?
What are we
Right?
doing here? What are we doing?
Like you trained me for 2 weeks on eating whatever I wanted
Junk food.
when I wanted. Yeah. So
Yeah.
but that's a long way of saying I don't really believe in the essence of of a New Year's resolution. I have goals, I guess,
Okay.
of like
Okay. We got
of like
goals. We have goals.
of and here's why it's not the same. It's not the
Okay.
same. It's not the same because goals have an end date. Like goals have an end date, right?
Okay.
A New
You don't
Year's
think you don't think resolutions have an end date? Like
no, bro, because so this is me generalizing. Obviously, some people, right, will say, "Oh, this is my resolution," right? Right.
mhm,
A resolution is more of a lifestyle change that you're attempting to do generally,
yeah.
right? So I'm gonna hit the gym more this year. I'm gonna change my body this year. It's more of an overall lifestyle change when we
Mhm,
talk about a resolution. A goal is a specific um thing that you're trying to achieve, and
mhm,
there's a pass or a fail or like, hey, I did it or I didn't do it, right? A, a lifestyle change is gradual. Sometimes it ends at the end of the year, sometimes it doesn't, but a goal is specific. Like, hey, this year, by the end of this year, I want to do this. And success looks
Yes.
like I did it or I didn't do it. A resolution
Yeah.
is up in the air because a lifestyle change is gonna happen over 5 years, right? It's kind of
Very
open.
true.
So that's kind of where I am right now. It's like I have some goals for this year. I already finished one goal. One goal was to have less around me, like have less
Mm,
material stuff around me,
declutter. Yeah.
declutter. And I did it, bro. Like I went to my closet
Okay.
and went through my clothes, went through some stuff in my room, and I had like 6 bags of stuff that I just didn't wear, things I never
Mm,
do, and I just ended up donating them, man. And as I was putting it into the donation bin, right? Like, you know, some people are like, I just felt the weight go off my shoulder as I was like lifting up that lifting up that thing.
yeah. Yeah.
Like I didn't feel that, but I felt like, hey, I accomplished one thing off my list this year, and it was
That's
like a
good.
relief. Like, I know at the end of this year, if I don't accomplish anything else, I'm not a failure.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
I got one thing
I'm
done.
not a failure.
I got one thing done. I got one thing
What?
done. The other one is just is getting at least one certificate. You know, have like
Mm,
uh uh
that's awesome.
Coursana and all those like things have like a certificate, right? Like I'm like, hey, by the end of this year, I want to have at least one certificate from those
Hmm.
from things like as like a continued education,
Yeah.
and then kind of snowball that down into getting another degree. So that's another
Okay.
goal. I have a few more, but how about you, bro? Like, what do you
Man.
believe in New Year's resolutions? Do you
So
have goals?
like
Like, what's your
like I'm a type of person that's just like a I love new beginnings. I love fresh starts. And
yeah,
so when I think of resolutions, I think of fresh starts. You know, I think the people who overcomplicate New Year's resolutions, and like I feel like what you just did was an overcomplication, like into
really?
New Year's resolution. I
I
think
don't
that
know.
you did the absolute most, bro. Like
I don't
I
know.
think
I don't know.
it's something that sounds good and it's something that sounds good in a sermon, like something good for people to consider. But I
Yeah,
mean, like there are several of us who really just need resets.
yeah,
And it's always a great opportunity, no matter if like and I say this because I was going to say no matter how realistic the goal is, because what you really began to get into is like what we call SMART goals. I
yeah.
learned this when I was in ROTC in high school. I was in Air
Right.
Force ROTC. I know you were too. Um, but I remember they used to teach us this acronym called SMART goals, and the S stood for is the goal specific? M, is it measurable? A, is it attainable? R, is it realistic? And
Realistic.
then
Yeah.
T, is it like I think is it time? Is it time? I forgot the T, but essentially what you really began to go through is like goal setting. Some people may not be the best goal setters,
Yeah.
because they possibly never have learned it. Like anything in life, even how you set a goal or what goals that you set it's a learning process. And so
It is.
I do
It
want
is.
to say that. I do want to say that. So I love simply just the opportunity to be able to think, well, what could be different this year versus last year, right?
Yeah.
And so I say that because I kind of sort of like rolled into this year
Yeah.
with a couple of things, right? I told myself, hey, I want to be able to read the parts of the Bible that I typically don't read, right?
Mm.
I am not the type of Bible reader that's like I'm gonna read my Bible all the way through. God
Yeah.
bless the people who do that, right?
Right.
If that makes you feel better, I think that's good. But there are certain books of the Bible that literally just I don't want to say don't matter, but like
Or less
Malachi,
impactful. I think less impactful or
less impact. Like Malachi, like I have like I read Hosea, and this is like the first time I've ever read Hosea all the way through. And I understand now why this is the first time I've ever read Hosea all the way through. Like aside from like the few sermons where a person like can can preach about how, God loves you even though you cheat on him. Like, once you get past like chapter 3,
Yeah.
it's like God going in on his people, bro.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I say this because I read that, and then I read Malachi, and I was like, yo, it's like God going in on his people again. And and I was like, wait, so the minor prophets is really God going in on his people
Yeah.
because his people are so inconsistent. And it's making me now even think about the fact that like Habakkuk, um, you know, like God goes in on his people even in Habakkuk. And so I'm trying to read through these portions of the Bible. Why? Because like even when I preach, it's very good. I love it when I can just recall if I'm talking about a particular topic and I can recall, oh man, I remember reading this in
Hmm.
Habakkuk. I remember reading this in Hosea, and this is what was going on. And it's very similar to what we're talking about today.
The connection.
I love to make those connections. I love being that systematic theologian that ties in the various parts of the Bible so that we can
Yeah.
see that it is a unified whole. And so I really do want to be able to do that. And so, yeah, that's what I set my mind to doing. Um, I also told myself that when it comes to sermon prepping, I am going to I am going to do it better. I'm going
Yeah.
to prepare better. I'm going to be more intentional. It hasn't happened yet. Okay, it hasn't happened yet. And I
New
have
Year's
like a
resolutions.
it hasn't happened yet. And what I mean by that is like what I meant by preparing better is what I really meant was trying to type most of it out. If you know me, I'm not a manuscript preacher. I'm not that guy. I'm not a manuscript preparer. I'm not a manuscript preacher. I
Yeah.
am more extemporaneous.
Mhm.
I can I can know what I'm talking about, and then I can just go.
Mhm.
Um, so it may not always be as refined
Mhm.
as like some other person whose choice of words may be more deliberate, but I will always try my best to give you, I will always try my best to give you good content and good
Yeah.
concepts, and I'll try my best to make it as deep as possible,
Mhm.
as long as I have enough time to prepare, right?
Yeah.
But I told myself, this year, if I'm going to become a better pastor, if I'm going to become a better speaker, I'm going to have to switch it up. So
Mhm.
that's another thing. That's another thing. And then I told myself one final thing. Um, I'm going to purchase more suits. I'm going to purchase more suits.
That's mine too. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because um, my church members consistently tell me, um, Pastor, we love you in a suit. We love you in a suit, and we know you don't like wearing suits too often. But Pastor, we just want to let you know that you look really good in the suit. And so it's just like, okay, I'm getting the hint. I'm getting the hint.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
Like, and so I'm almost done. I'm almost done with kind of sort of like the solids. Um, I told him I know understand that I need to get like a dark blue suit, like a navy blue, like dark
Yeah.
blue suit.
Dark navy. Yeah.
Um, and and I want to get I want to get a dark gray, like regular suit. I have a dark gray double breasted, but I want to get a dark gray, just regular suit. Um, and I think I'll completely be finished with like all the typical solids.
Okay.
Okay. Cause I bought a tan one. I bought a cream one.
Mhm.
I bought a dark brown, like mocha one.
Mhm.
Um,
You're just going down
and
that color spectrum, bro. Like that
because they were the
cream.
last ones. They were the last ones that I needed. So like,
Okay.
because I got like the traditional. They always tell you that you should get
Your
a
black
gray
suit.
suit, a black suit, and a blue suit. All
Yeah.
right. So I did that. I got two black suits. I got a good black suit, and I got a funeral black suit. All
Yeah.
right. Um, then I have my lighter blue, my lighter or just like typical blue,
Yeah.
right? Did I say royal blue or navy blue for the one I need?
Navy blue was what you needed.
Okay. So I have one that looks more like royal blue, right?
Yeah.
That's what I have already. And I have a light gray and I have a dark gray that's double breasted. And I
Mhm.
want a dark gray that's not. And the only reason why I say this is because like I was told some time ago that before you enter into like the double-breasted field, make sure that you have a regular two-button suit.
Why?
Um, I think it's just because double-breasted is not necessarily standard. It's not necessarily standard. It's like a step above. It's a cut above. So before you do like the cut above, get the basics first. Because if you have a unless you just bought all double-breasted suits, you'll be able to pick it out as like, oh, you're wearing that often. But if it's like a part of your typical thing, like your typical two button suits, then it's just like a oh, you can switch it out with the black pants, you can switch it out with the blue pants, you can switch it out with the light gray. Nah, like and because of that, you can make several suits. But typically, what I've seen is that when you have a double-breasted jacket, um, I've never seen a person wear a double-breasted jacket and they wear it with a different
I
color
think I've done
pants.
that. I've done that.
Um, and there's nothing wrong with it. But typically, when I've seen individuals wear double-breasted suits, it's a full suit. It's not a suit separate. It's a full same color. And so I think as it pertains to like my closet, I prefer to do double-breasted all the way down. Like, and it's the same pattern, it's the same color all the way down. I don't think I want to switch up, you know, blue jacket, gray pants for something like that. Not saying that there's anything wrong with it. I
Yeah.
think we all just have preferences for like
Preferences.
our
Yeah.
style.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm almost done.
That's
And
good.
once I get the dark blue, once I get that dark gray, then I'm gonna go to like maybe my favorite color right now, which is green, and I want to get a green suit, like a dark, like a forest green suit, and then
Yeah.
yeah, and then I want to do what I've been hoping to do for quite some time, and that's to get a pinstripe suit, a blue pinstripe suit, and that's gonna complete like the base level for me, the base floor for me.
Got it.
But I told myself it would be good if I have just 12 suits. If I have like 12 suits, um, that would be like amazing. That'd be amazing. So yeah, that's one of my last goals that I have. Buy a suit each month. Buy a suit each month.
Each
So
month.
so yeah, that's 12 suits. That's 12 suits.
That's woo.
That's just I mean like so
And
not
all
not
from the
not trying
same.
not trying to put you on blast. Not trying to put you on blast. But like it's kind of sort of like a don't you know how like you buy multiple suits at once? Like
Yeah.
I don't buy multiple suits at once. I just buy one suit.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Like I remember you told me like, oh yeah, I bought like three suits, you
Yeah.
know. And it's just like, oh, okay. I don't do that. I buy one suit and I mix it, I integrate it in.
You're right. You're right. You're right. I think it's because like the way that I process it is that it comes through a hey, like I'm gonna set aside X amount of dollars every single week, right?
Mhm.
And then once it hits a certain amount, I'm like, all right, like I'm now okay to go ahead and spend this on the suits. So
Yeah.
because overall, like, I think everyone should enter the year with goals, with not just personal goals, but financial goals as well. Like, "Hey, I
Mhm.
wanna this year give this much money to the church. I wanna give this much money in tithe." And be like, "Hey," or "I wanna make this much money." And then by the end of the year, I wanna see if I can, be keep everything in my house in order. So I think
Mhm.
you're right, man. Like what I kinda tend to hear people say is like, "Hey, pastor, like, this year I want this." Alright, how are you gonna get there? Right? So I
Mhm.
love how you said every single month I'm gonna buy 1 suit. So by the end of the year, you have 12.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll have more than 12 by the end of the year because I already have more than one suit as it is.
Yeah.
But I know like the job that we work, the type of job that we work, there's a certain pocket of people that think that if you're not in the suit, then it's a problem. You know, I don't agree with those people. You
I
know,
I'm starting to change my mind. I'm starting to agree with them.
really,
Yeah. Yeah.
tell me
Yeah.
more. Tell me more.
Yeah. Because I've seen the reception that you get when you
Mhm.
are in a suit versus not in a suit. And let me tell you why. I was at a I was at a funeral, I think 2 weeks ago now or a week ago. And
I mean, it's a funeral.
no, and and everyone was not in a suit. It was at a Baptist church, because the person that died was Baptist,
Mhm.
and everyone was not in a suit. People were in jeans. All of the younger guys were in jeans, and I think I was the only Indian guy there, outside of Jonathan, and Jonathan didn't come in a suit either.
Mhm.
But I went in a three-piece suit, like I would in a normal funeral if I had it, either a double-breasted suit or a three-piece suit, as if I was officiating, right? So I went in pocket
Yeah.
square, shirt, tie pin, or bar. I walked in, and the immediate reception was just like, "Are you on the program? Like, are you what what was going on?" So, "Oh, no, I just want to sit in the back over there." And I kid you not, bro, I maybe it's because I'm brown in like a sea of people that don't look like me, but the 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 reverend, like, as I'm sitting and standing and going to the thing, the reverend the entire time was just eyeing me. And then when he was leaving, like out during the recessional,
Mhm.
he just came by and said hi. Uh um and just like from head to toe, just looked like head to toe. And then it was like, "Hey man, what's up?" Like either it's because I'm brown, right? But Jonathan is there on the other side of the he's there at the other side of the church, right? So I'm like, this is a controlled experiment right now, right? There's two brown guys, right? One is just normal, and then one is not. But that was just the most recent experience where I'm in a suit compared to people that are in a suit, like preaching at
Suits look nice. Like let's like suits look nice.
yeah,
Suits look
yeah.
nice. But I
But
don't
it's
I
not just
don't
nice
think
though. I think it conveys it conveys a unspoken message
money.
to
I got money.
people.
I got money.
Not
It
I think
communicates. I got money.
that's one of them, but I think the other one is if you're a younger pastor going into a setting and you're not wearing a suit, I think the reception that you'll get will be h will it'll be hard to grab people's attention because they've already made a a assumption about who you are.
And I think the problem is that they have that perception. Like that's how they view things. Like the problem that's they're part of the problem. They're saying that
But then like, so here's where
you
I'm
you actually just identified what the problem is, that in order to be taken
but you're calling that a problem.
seriously.
No, but
Okay. Oh, okay.
so that's been my mind change, is that we're calling it a problem, right? But is it a problem?
That you have to look a certain way in order for people to take you seriously.
Yeah. Like like
Yes.
like
Yes.
in the inauguration, there was like a
Politicians,
no
politicians,
not
politician.
no. What I'm saying is there was a bit of not a scandal, but like a critique of Jeff Bezos' girlfriend, wife. Like she went to the inauguration, I think sat behind or something, and she was wearing something that showed a lot, right? Um, eh,
It's politics where individuals are legitimately picking you apart. Things that don't like. Hear me.
yeah,
Donald Trump wears rich suits. He's going to be a terrible president.
and
He was a
it doesn't
terrible
matter.
president before. Like he was a
Yeah,
terrible president before,
yeah,
and he wore amazing suits.
amazing suits. Yeah,
Like Like we probably like, and they probably look. They're simple suits,
They are.
but
Yeah,
I bet you they cost a whole bunch of money.
they probably
And
do.
he looks good,
Yeah.
and he
Well,
still
I
doesn't
don't know
know
about
what he's
looks
doing.
good, but you know.
I think there would be several individuals who are in previous generations that say that that's how a pastor needs to dress.
Yeah. Yeah.
That looks good. And the point that I'm trying to make is that you can look a certain type of way,
Hmm.
and a lot of people oftentimes the outside looks great,
Yeah.
and when it comes to what you actually need to do,
Yeah.
you're just not. And why is this important? It's because, like, as a black man, I understand that there's a certain group of people that have a natural benefit or that have a natural advantage based on
Hmm.
how they look.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have to be just as good, if not better than them,
Right.
so I can actually be able to be in the same room as them.
Hmm.
Or what will happen nowadays is a person will be like, oh, just a DEI hire. That's the
Yeah.
reason why you're here. I could be
Yeah.
more qualified. I can actually have better ideas. I can have more
Yeah.
skills.
Yeah.
And they'll still say, oh, DEI. Why? Because I don't look like them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and so it's the judging. The problem is we judge people
Based on their
before
experience.
they open their mouth. We
Yeah.
judge people based on what we see rather than what's actually inside.
Yeah.
Which is why it's important that the Bible says that, hey, while man looks on outward appearance, God does not. He looks
Does
within.
not.
And so
Yeah.
that's why I said it's a problem, because there are a lot of people who, even when we're in college, right? When we're in college, you would think that based on TV, based on movies, college students are dressed up and looking fashion, like trendy and fashionable every day. When you go to the real thing, it's sweats,
Yep. Flip flop.
sweats,
Yeah.
slides,
Athletic
like
gear. Yeah. Yeah.
some people in bonnets,
Hmm.
like, and it's just like, yo, but we all are getting degrees, and
Yeah.
many of us go on and obtain the degrees,
Yeah.
multiple sometimes,
Yeah.
and they did it in sweats.
Yeah.
And so all I'm saying is, and I think that this has become something that I'm passionate about. Like,
Yeah. I can tell.
all I'm saying is, and it's just because it's because, like, dude, like, just because you have a worldview where you think things, where you have a preference for a certain thing, don't force your worldview on another person, especially when it's not a moral issue. If it's a moral issue, yeah, like you can mention it. Hey, don't kill people. Like, makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Like, if it's something that offends people, like, hey, you should probably take a shower. Like, I smell something. I smell
Yeah.
something, and it's a little offensive. So makes sense.
Take a
But
shower. Yeah.
oh, you're wearing a button down and jeans. What is the world coming to? Like, this person's not serious about Jesus. They're not serious about worship. And it's just like, how did we,
I
how, 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 how?
it it's a it's a it's number one. I don't think it's a touchy issue. I think people are passionate about it, um,
Hmm?
because it's a personal choice, right? So people always be passionate about personal choices. I think what I've come to in that is, would I prefer to wear a suit? Well, probably not. Right? Will I wear a
Especially if it's a
suit?
good suit.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't want
even
to.
if
I
it's
don't
a
want to sweat in that.
even if it's a good suit, right? Like if I had the choice, right, I would not be in a suit. I'd be in a t-shirt, right? And some jeans and some shoes, right? But I think I've started to come to the idea of, well, what's the purpose right now? Right? The main purpose of me being at the church right now, speaking in my sermon, is to get the message across, right? That Jesus loves you, right? That if you're
That
hurting,
is actually not it. I like,
I
like
mean, I'm
that
just
is that's like our
I'm just
church
throwing
members
out
know
stuff.
that Jesus loves them. Oh,
No,
okay.
no, no, I don't think so. Because when I mean, I've
That's
gotten
crazy.
calls last year where it's just like, Pastor, like I did this, this, and this. Does God still love me?
I mean,
Right?
that's more of an Adventist issue than anything else. Not
No,
really a
bro. I
Christian
think
issue.
that's a flat across everything. Where even if you're not Adventist and you're Christian, or just a general Christian, it's like, well, I've done this, this, and this, and this is, and think of my past. There's no way that God can love me. Because I think that's just the natural human thing. But that's like beside the point. Suits, wearing suits, right? Like, like I got to the point.
You
Hey,
come to church. You come to church
with a
to
mission, with
yes.
with a mission of raising Jesus, right?
Okay.
And lifting him up, right? If it if there's if there's anything that gets in the way of that I can avoid, right? Like if I can avoid um like wearing sunglasses in the church, right? Because people are like, you're wearing sunglasses and you're not supposed to be wearing those inside, right? And I'm talking about the most important thing in the world of saying, hey, right? Like right now, right?
Are they already believers? That's my like, because if you're a believer, it doesn't matter. Like the Bible quite literally says that as long as you believe in the Lord, you're going to heaven.
No,
Like
I'm
unless
talking
you just
about the general
I don't
person at
see
church.
I don't see like a an unbeliever coming into the church and saying, "Oh, they're not wearing a suit."
Yeah,
Like they're not wearing a suit. I can't listen to it. Literally isn't. And it's literally people who have been in church their
yeah.
entire that for years that have so like this whole
But it's the flip
situation
side.
lit
It
does
it's
not matter.
no, but
What's
but it's
two?
two
What's two?
sides. There's the
What's
people
two?
that
What's the
are
second side?
no, there's the people coming into the church, right? That most probably don't have an issue with it, right? But the people in the church, they have to be edified. They have to be equipped, trained, right? And if the majority of people that are coming to your church, I think this is me like thinking through it of like, hey, right? Like at one point I was like, is it that big of a deal? Right? And then now just like, hey, like you tell me what will make my job easier, right?
Mm.
Because like we're trying to do so many other different things. The last thing that I want for me to deal with is people come up and be like, hey, the reason that I can't listen to anything you have to say is because you have on Jordans. It's just like, first of all, I don't
I just
care.
want that says so much more about them
It
than it
does.
says about you. Like,
I'm with
and
you. I'm with you.
the fact that we're saying that that is our responsibility
I'm not saying it's our
is
responsibility.
crazy.
No, no,
You're essentially saying that that is your responsibility.
no.
That's
I'm saying
you're making it your responsibility.
no, no. I'm saying, hey, I'm gonna take away any of the distractions, right? Is me wearing a suit gonna take me that much out of my way? No. Like me wearing a suit
I don't think it's about it taking
is
you
not
out of
putting
your
on
way.
more responsibility on me.
No, you're making like you're making another person's values
Mhm.
your responsibility. Like
It
eh, that's like
yeah.
that's 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 making it your responsibility.
As a leader
How
though,
how how is that
as a
not?
leader, your our jobs as leaders is not to cater, right? We aren't catering to anyone's specific needs, right?
You're
It's
literally
general.
you're catering to someone's preferences when you're dressing a particular
The
way
difference
because
is but the difference is that if the majority of your church, right, is telling you, uh,
get a different
their
church.
leader, huh?
Get a different church then.
But that's not how it works though.
I mean, like why?
You
Like
you have the
like
you and me have the option of course saying, hey, like I don't want to do this anymore, right? And then leave. But there's a call on our lives that we've seen, right? So God wants us here, right?
I
We've
mean, there are
all
more churches than the Adventist church. Like we don't have a monopoly on truth. You know.
you're right. But I'm talking about me and you, right? Like we've like as far as I can tell, for me specifically, right? This is a place I'm supposed to be until God decides to move the opportunity, right? So like for me right now, this is where I think I'm supposed to be based on what I'm receiving from God. And I
Okay.
think what I've learned so far is that, and I think we've talked about this before too, is that there are hills. I don't know if dying is the right word, and I don't like that analogy anymore
I
either.
just I just think that they can go to another church. Like
They 100% can, yeah,
if a person doesn't like the way you dress and you're the
but that's one
pastor,
person
you've been
though.
assigned there,
That's
all
one
you gotta
person.
do,
That's
like,
one person.
go to another church.
That's one
Like,
person. That's what like if one person comes in a Capitol Hill today or on tomorrow, right? Says, Pastor Stanley, I don't like the drum set,
yeah.
right? It's like, thank you for your opinion. We
There are a
appreciate
lot
it.
of people there are a lot of people who still don't like drum that the fact that drums are in Adventist churches,
Right, right,
and then they
right.
go to the hole in the wall churches.
But here's the difference though. That's one, two people
It's not one or two people, it's a number of people.
in our churches. I'm talking about in our churches, like at Capitol
I'm
Hills, the
saying,
Metros, the Brinklows, the did CPC have a drum set? I don't know.
yeah,
But
I think so.
like I'm talking about in our churches that have the option of different churches. Of course, here's the caveat in it, right? I'm not talking about the majority always rules, right? Because the majority can be wrong, right? Uh, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about peripheral things like um, suits, clothing, suits, clothing, right? Like we
The
say,
only
hey,
thing
we
I'm saying
Mhm.
Only thing I'm saying is I remember in the 90s. I mean, I don't really remember, but I remember learning about how in the 90s drums were introduced into many of our churches.
Yeah,
There were several individuals who had issue with it.
yeah,
Look at us over 25 years later.
yeah,
Like you'd be hard pressed to find a church that doesn't have drums.
mhm, yeah,
Like you'd be hard pressed. All I'm saying is, in the same way that you now have more churches more than ever, where you're not required to wear a three-piece suit or to wear a first lady's attire.
yeah,
All I'm saying is that we can begin making this cultural shift. As we know, we did the study. Non-denominational churches are on the rise. More people are leaving their evangelical churches and
yeah,
choosing to go evangelical and Catholic churches, and are choosing to go to these non-denominational churches where uh, attire is not the important thing. Like
right,
I'm pretty sure they value you looking nice. Like they want you to look nice,
yeah.
but nice is up for discussion. Nice is up for discussion.
But in an
And so
organization, it's not though.
when you say an organization, what do you mean?
A organized body. If you're in an organized body that has procedures, rules, policies, whatever, nice is
We
not
don't
up for
have we
discussion.
don't have we don't have those types of, even in the Adventist church, we don't have like a dress code.
So like for us, right? For a meeting that we're going to in February, right? Like it was told to us, hey, this is what we're expecting you to wear. Like
Yeah,
it's it's the like the expectation has been given. Hey, this is what we're expecting you to come in, which means that if you don't come in in a suit, right? And it was even more than that. It was like, hey, you need to coordinate, right?
they didn't say you need to coordinate.
Like
They said it looks nice. It looks nice to like three people, that you come
it
coordinated.
that's not the way I received it. It
Dress
was
for us, boys.
It was definitely like, hey, you need to put some thought into it and look nice, and you need to be in a suit, right? Like, there's some,
Yes, that's not the church though. That's something else.
but
That's something else.
the comparison I'm making though is that the church, even though a it's still an organized body that
Yeah.
as leaders in it, there's some
Mhm.
just expectations, there's some unwritten expectations,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
as we go through it, we see that the unwritten expectations sometimes carry more weight than the written expectations.
I get, and so I think like for me, it's kind of sort of just like a why does it matter? Like
It doesn't.
how often like who care like we're pastors. Like
It doesn't
we're
matter.
rarely we're rarely coming in contact with our fellow brethren, like our fellow co-laborers in this field. Like we're typically by ourselves, and we do our own things at our own spaces. And
Right.
so, you know, like that's what
It
I'm just
doesn't
trying to figure out. Like,
it doesn't matter. Like, I'll be honest with you. Wearing a suit on Sabbath, right? Or wearing casual clothes, or I mean, I don't think I could ever get to the point where I go to church on Sabbath in sweats. That's just me personally, right? Like I don't think
yeah,
I'm there.
no,
Um,
no. Maybe if I was
but
just in the audience,
I
like,
I can't.
or maybe if it was a church that had multiple services in a day. Like the way that our churches work, we only have one service in a day. That's to our detriment, right?
Right.
But we only have one service in a day. And so like there is no timetable. But like there are some churches and some types of people, you know, where they got services 8:30, 11,
11, yeah.
one
One,
thirty,
yeah,
4 p.m., 8 p.m. Like they
yeah,
got services all day long. And
yeah,
so like because of that, like there are some people who are like who really as soon as they get off of work, they go to church,
yep,
you know, or as soon as they like they may find like oh we time, let me get to church. And so
yeah.
if it's nighttime, I might just wear some sweats to church.
I might,
Like
I
I'm okay with you now. I'm okay with you though.
I've worn
I'm
it.
okay with you.
I've definitely worn sweats to to our office meetings, right? Where it's me and Doc, but that's because it's like tracksuit season, right? We're like, hey, like it's just us, all right, and we're gonna be here for like 5, 6 hours,
It
right?
really depends on like the culture of the church, you know.
It's the
Like
culture.
a church that I have shamelessly like been looking up to for various things has just been Union Church.
Yeah,
Um, and I think that at Union you see various people wearing different things. You see people wearing suits. You see people wearing you know, business casual, you know,
yeah,
suit with jeans. You see some
spectrum.
people, you know, um, streetwear, you know, things like that. That's what you see. Uh, and casual, you see casual, you know, you see
Casual.
the various different styles, right?
Yeah,
But I think like the focus is as long as you look put together,
put
you know,
together.
as long
Yeah,
as you try like with what you have, because
yeah,
different people got different level pockets, you know. So if you got less money, I mean, naturally you're gonna look like you got less money, which is
hmm,
okay.
hmm,
And so I think that that's really what it's all about when in
yeah,
my eyes.
yeah,
As long as you've tried,
hmm,
because presentation does matter.
right.
But I think there are some individuals who try to make it seem as though that like if it's not a suit, you don't look good.
That,
I think
yeah, I don't,
that's the only problem that I
I don't
have.
vibe with
Like,
that. Yeah,
they're like, oh, you know, like, and when they start using hurtful language or harmful language,
that's not
um, to communicate, that's like
for
the problem that I
opinion.
have.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, like, so it's kind of that's really it. But
yeah,
I know we got into like this long discussion about this, but that's that is the reason why. That's the reason why I am trying to get more suits.
yeah,
Because I mean, I'm declaring I'm gonna get to a space where it's just like I'm gonna wear what I want to wear.
Yeah.
I am. I'm gonna get to a space where I can do that freely.
Yeah.
Depending on like the space. Like if I understand that I'm going to a conference event, right? Like I understand our conference desires that we wear formal attire.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to a conference event, I'll comply.
Yeah.
If it's my church, like I am going. I'm the type of pastor where it's just like my church takes after the culture of the pastor.
I
Like
mean, yeah, it
that's
happens
that's who
generally.
I
Yeah.
am. I
Yeah.
have a strong personality, and so like for me, it's like a where I go. One, I don't want to go to a church that already has a long history. I
Mm.
don't. I don't want that. You know,
Yeah, a lot of
um,
legacy.
like
Uh,
because if that's the case, that means that you have to essentially
conform.
like you have to change you in order to fit. I don't think that that's biblical. I don't like. I don't think that that's biblical. Or
Hmm.
like I I
I think
or
that's just
even
being in society, like that. Just living in
like
in.
you, like I could see if that's who I am. That's not who I am. Like I like if I'm going to a space or if I get placed in a particular spot, it's like a make it make sense. Don't make me have to change who I am.
Yeah.
Because there are going to be certain things that I am willing to change, and
Yeah.
then there are going to be certain things I'm just like,
No,
yeah,
I
no,
don't want to.
like
Yeah.
because I think each of us has a vision or a dream of what we want church and ministry to look like.
Right.
And I'm a person who I know what God has placed on my heart and what God
Mhm.
has made important to me.
Yeah.
And so wherever I go, I'm going to tip to make that happen. And I I don't know if this is immaturity, uh, a lack of vision, but for me, it's just like as much as possible, I'm gonna make certain things happen. And I have the viewpoint of you can go to another church, like you
Yeah.
can go to, and in the same way that I'm replaceable as a pastor, like
Yeah.
like it's in the same way that individuals are like, oh well, we can wait for the next pastor.
Yeah.
I can also turn back and say I can wait for the next church member. I
It's
can
just
wait. I,
the conversation is just so unchristian like sometimes that it gets to where I'm just like, y'all, like we need to relax. Like you're talking about us like clothing, right? Like if we had the perspective of God looking, right? How many individuals have been turned off by church because they walked in and the ushers like looked at them a certain way, or they sat down and because their skirt was too short by their standards, they gave them like a prayer blanket to cover up, right? Like
never seen that, but that's crazy.
I've heard some stories where it just like how many people have we lost over a conversation that could have happened? Like,
Let me, dude. You're so, and I think I probably feel so strongly about this because like I grew up in a rather less financially in a lower income household. That's it. And we didn't have um, the ability to wear whatever we wanted to wear or to look nice in suits.
mhm,
I vividly remember feeling like I was less than in church at times because I did not have the same quality of clothing that other people had. I
yeah,
vividly remember, and I remember the looks. I remember the looks. And so, like, if I do feel strongly about this, it's because the fact that I know what it's like to look
yeah,
down upon. And
yeah.
then for a person to be like, wow, when I first saw you, I had this opinion. But man, now that I know you, it's just like, and it's just like like, dude, like, do you think it's okay for you to think like that?
It's just
Like, and
shallowness.
so
Yeah,
and so I often I have a hard time, hearing individuals say things like that to me. Like it's just like, who do you really think you are? Like, do you
yeah,
really think you're that? Do you really think
yeah.
you're that
Hmm.
amazing, or do you really think you're all that? You know, that your opinion of me really matters.
Yeah.
Like you know my name because I'm the pastor. I don't know you.
Mhm.
And so and I don't want to turn people off,
I
but
think
this
like the conversation I think can use a lot of
yeah,
un of
yeah.
of of grace, of grace, of
I don't even
especially
think
when
it's
you're
grace.
yeah.
I don't think the topic is grace. I think values. It's the conversation of like what do we as believers,
Mhm,
what do we value? And not just values, but what does inclusivity actually look like?
mhm,
Because when we say, oh, it should look like this, we're essentially creating boundaries. We're creating
mhm.
barriers for certain groups of people. We're,
Yeah.
we're, we're saying that, hey, in order to belong here, in order to really fit in here, you got to come this way.
Mhm.
And that's literally not what the church, like James in his letter,
Hey, make that
he
connection.
talked about he talked about like the importance, like on the concept of partiality. Like there are some individuals who are more partial to people who look a certain way,
Yeah.
who are dressed with name brands and who have the more extravagant attire. And James literally guided us. He told his people, hey,
Don't do that.
don't do that.
Yeah.
God is not partial. He does not favor the people who who look good based on human values.
Right. Right.
And so all I'm saying is that like it's a matter of and it's a topic of inclusivity. It's a topic of values. What do we
Mhm.
really value, and what should we value within our church? I don't know what you necessarily meant by grace, and so I'll give you an opportunity to really share it. But
No, I'm just saying like grace as in uh, giving the other person just, hey, you might not be where I think you are. Like in their finances, in how they came in, their mindset, whatever. Like, hey, like let me approach you, right, with me not making any assumption, just having grace. Like, hey, like I don't know where you're coming from, you don't know where I'm coming from. So let's just talk about it. Hey, this is what my expectations are, right? But at the end of the day, clothing and what you wear to church is at that as low as you could go on the totem pole of priorities, right? Like of what we're trying to do at church. It is at the bottom with a lot of other things, right? Because people
yes,
are dealing with so many other things. The fact that we've lost people forever because they weren't received well simply because of what they were wearing, like really hurts. Like that hurts. Like it's
yes.
different having conversation with the pastor, but like, hey pastor, I don't like the the gold chain you're wearing, right? It's like all right, like
How's that different? How's that different?
because I'm committed to Christ, whether you talk about me or not, right? Like I'm committed.
No,
Um,
you said that the tire thing
it's at the
is
bottom.
different from the gold chain.
No. I'm all of that is at the bottom, like
Okay,
attire.
okay.
It's all at the bottom. I, I'm talking about it's different who you speak about those things with. Because someone
Mhm.
that's a pastor, right? We know our priorities at the bottom. But for someone that has come into the church new, fresh, right, is still wondering about God, still thinking about if they want to join, still thinking about, hey, I have this thing to do with, I have this thing to do with. They come into church and then you approach them like, hey, you're wearing a gold chain. It's received completely different because their priority is, I'm still trying to belong. And now you're pointing out something on me, right? And you're alienating me even more, right? Like,
The worst part be that like they had nothing to do with the fact that the person even came there in the first place.
right.
Like they kind of showed her just like the gatekeeping community of, oh, this is how we get down here. And that's
Yeah.
the worst part. That's the worst part.
Yeah.
Like and I can't get down with that. I can't.
Can't either.
That's not how I roll as a pastor.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I will say this: if an individual is like, "Hey, I need my pastor to dress like this," great. I'm not the pastor for you. And I think that's okay. I think that's
Yeah, it
okay.
is. It
Like
is. Y'all have
I'm
choices.
not here to work for you. Like
Yeah.
I'm not here to work for you. God placed
Yeah.
me here
True.
to be able to lead people, and I'm a
Yeah.
great leader. And if a person says, "Oh, well, you're not as good of a leader because you're not willing to do this for the people," no, that's no. We're not all supposed to look the same. We're not all
By
supposed
metrics
to
of
operate
success.
the same way.
Yeah.
And so, like, no, it's not like I don't have to do something a particular way because just because you do it.
Yeah.
Like, no, like this is why we have so many amazing leaders. Like in the same way, we got like some unspoken people that will say, "Hey, I prefer a black pastor."
Hmm.
Like I prefer a white pastor. You
Yeah.
like same way a person can say, "Well, I prefer church members who who who
Who dress well. Yeah. It's like,
who
okay.
I like." I, that's literally it. And
Yeah.
so if an individual says like, "Oh man, that seems kind of harsh," it's just like, is it really? Is it
Hmm.
really? Because it's like a like what's our priorities here? Like what are we really operating on? And so if a person's like, "Oh well, pastor, I think that you should be more willing," and it's just like, no, we got so many different pastors. They can go over there with them. Like they can really go over there with them.
Yeah.
And if you ever get to a space where you're just like, let me let me give them a chance. Let me see what he really got to say. Like and you really have the time to do that, then we could maybe talk. But
Yeah.
if you're just like, hey, I'm making this decision based on how a person looks,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
happy new year. Have a good day. Maybe I'll see you in heaven, because
Maybe I'll see you.
like no, I don't think it's of God for
Yeah.
you to form an opinion about a person based on how like Jesus himself probably dressed like a hobo.
Yeah.
Like Jesus was not here like probably
In the
dressed the
finest
best.
robe. Yeah.
And so for me, it's kind of sort of just like for me, it's like, dude,
Yeah.
and I hate the people that say be all things to all men. Like, no, what happened to the phrase of you can please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please all the people all the time? Like, you literally can't.
Eh, Well, the first one's in the Bible. I don't know what if the second one is.
But be all things to all men does not mean wear suits.
Right. 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 It's contextual, but I think the
Like
wisdom in that.
Paul didn't change his preaching style
No,
because of the fact that some of the Corinthians favored Apollos over him.
I think he changed his language for sure, where it was more
Where's
Greco.
that in the
What?
Bible? Where's that in the Bible? Where it said that, like, he literally said, some of y'all prefer Apollos
Yeah,
over
this
me.
guy, whatever. Yeah, yeah,
He's an eloquent speaker. God
yeah,
bless him.
yeah, yeah,
If you favor him over me because of that, God bless you. Go follow him. Like
yeah.
we all can eat. We're all eating from the
Oh, the same
same
thing.
cow, from the same
Yeah,
elephant. Like, but don't make it seem as though that I gotta be like him because you
yeah.
prefer a person who's more eloquent. And don't
Hmm.
say that Apollos needs to be more like me because I'm crazy. Like and you prefer a pastor who's crazy.
Yeah,
Like that's all I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah. It. You're right. It's priorities. It's priorities. And this year, bro, I like how we talked about it, and I guess we're ending it as well. Priorities, priorities. You like how I made that little segue? We're talking about ending with priorities. So I'm excited, bro. Like this.
I will say, last thing.
Yeah, yeah.
People take that verse out of context. Be all things to all men. They take that out of context.
They do.
They do.
They do. It's
So
not changing who you are, right?
yes,
It's not changing who you are. It's it's again, Paul had his priority. His priority was the message, was spreading Jesus. And it's in that context that he says that. So like, yeah, like we should talk about that more next time. But appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Would love to know what you guys think about what we talked about today.
Yeah.
Um,
What are
it's
your
it,
New
it
Year's resolutions or goals?
yeah. What are your goals? Do you believe yours? Am I wrong about saying the generalized statements I made about
Or
you
it's more
about
like it's more
people?
like an opinion. You can have a wrong. I guess you
You
can
can
have a wrong opinion,
you can
or
have a
you can
wrong
have an
opinion.
opinion. You can have an opinion that's not based on
Correct.
enough evidence. Okay.
I think you could definitely have a wrong opinion and then be like, yeah, that's a wrong opinion to have on the top. But you know, I still believe in goals. Um, would love to know what your goals are. And interact with us.
Yes.
Let's build a community. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. Until then, be safe, be well. We didn't talk about the Ravens this time, but we will next time. Um, and
They
we'll
lost. Spoiler alert, they lost.
they lost. They lost. But we'll
Don't
talk
sound
about that
so
one next time,
bad.
guys. I'm still kind of down about it, but catch you guys on the next episode. We'll I guess we'll start with that one. Have a great rest of the week or day or whatever day you're going through, whether it's a Monday or a Tuesday or whatever. I hope it ends well. We'll catch you guys on the next one. We'll see you guys later.